are a physically fragile kid, let's say, and somebody is exercising their physical strength on you, say, beating you up. So that bully has mastered that tactic. That bully wants you to reply in that language. So don't use that language. Step back, break down bully's psyche, and use a language that bully doesn't know. There are so many forms of strength. There are so many forms of power. Humans are not just blessed with physical power. That is probably one of the most, I'd say, not that superior one, but you have power of intellect, power of dignity, character, truth, honesty. There's so many type of powers. So as a kid, if I were that physically fragile kid, I would tell my parents, I would involve authorities, I would probably exercise the power of truth on that physically strong kid who probably doesn't have that sort of power in that language. So yeah, that's the best way to fight with bullies.
And also we have a certain elitism, it's there everywhere in big cities. The way you speak, you have a certain English kaise bolte ho, sahi accent hai, sahi pronunciation hai, and you actually did manage to turn it on its head, that kind of snobbery. You said, okay, so I have shortcomings, but I'm going to work on it.
But I think that's a very primitive way of looking at people. That how their language is. Their language is going to be whatever their background is. That doesn't say anything about who you are. You're not. Like I always say, you're not your language, your color, your sex, your culture, your religion. That's not what defines you. What defines is or her language.
But you have a very strong support system. You've got your sister, you're very close to her. How many women can actually do that? Because it's not just this one bully you're facing, right? Then there is also this...
I've got a very strong support system because I have built that support system when I was 17. Listen to this story. When I was 17, I was faced with extreme physical violence to a point where I literally saw my death looking me in my eyes. And I had an option and the person who was subjecting me to that kind of bullying is a very influential person, and especially when like I said, as a teenager, when I was supportless and penniless and shelterless, it was a huge deal for me. I had an option, either to put up with that and lead a very a comfortable life where nobody would ever know what is happening to me, or being a minor, go to cops, make it a public issue, lodge a FIR, and then just see what happens. That also meant letting my parents know everything that I was going through, letting the world know about the humiliation and the physical pain I was being subjected to. Basically being subjected to all sort of judgments and scrutinies. At 17, I went to the cop station and I lodged a FIR.
And from doing that when you were 17 to doing that now, have things changed at all? Has the experience changed at all?
Doing that now as in?
To now as in what happened this year, when you again went public with the kind of harassment that you were facing. And did you find people's reaction in particular? Because there's a lot of victim shaming that happened. Like you said, you go public and it's not just your parents. There'll be always these hundreds of people who will judge you, who will try and think that they know better about you.
Yeah, but this incident is very different than the incidents that I faced in the past. This was there was no legal proceedings ever initiated against me. There was a lot of media drama. There were a lot of threats. There was a lot of slut shaming, but there was no case ever filed against me. And there was, like I said, no legal proceedings ever initiated against me. There was no question of fighting a legal battle. But yes, like I said, there were media trials. There were a lot of lot of pressure, like I don't know, like a certain feminist pressure on me to fight and to tell the world, reveal the sob story that I have, but I didn't have any. I was in a consensual equation with an individual, and I felt perfectly capable of dealing with the stuff that was coming my way as an adult. But I was pressurized to a point where I felt like questioning that what exactly is feminism that we're talking about today. Is it fighting for an individual's acceptance or begging for his acknowledgement publicly? Individual who doesn't have an iota of respect for you, is that feminism?
No.
Then I'm not a feminist. Is it feminism that we as women, it is essential for us to save the memories of our love affairs, whether it's sperm-stained panties or a gift that it is given to us by a lover as a potential evidence for a future when he's trying to escape or say no. If that is feminism, I'm not a feminist. If it is feminism to not allow a prerogative of saying no to a man and to making it just a prerogative of a woman, then I am not a feminist. A no means a no. If I can give you all my word today, if anybody, any individual wants nothing to do with me and feels ashamed of me, wants to get rid of me, only thing I'm going to do for that individual is to say goodbye. Because I feel in the realm of love, only one language should be used, not languages of acids or kerosins, language of poetry. So every time I get dumped or feel rejected or dejected, my favorite lines of share, you guys want to hear?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've not written it, but I love it from the age of 16. Every time I fall back on these words, every time I get dumped. So here this is, written by Nazir Bakri. So this is to the dumping. Say yes! मुझको no, it starts as तुझको भी जब अपनी कसमें अपने वादे याद नहीं, तुझको भी जब अपनी कसमें अपने वादे याद नहीं, हम भी अपने ख्वाब तेरी आंखों में रखकर भूल गए. मुझको जिन्होंने कत्ल किया है, मुझको जिन्होंने कत्ल किया है, कोई उन्हें बतलाए नजीर, मेरी लाश की पहलू में वो अपना खंजर भूल गए. So, coming back to feminism, if generalizing our men and filling them up with a sense of shame and guilt is feminism, then I am not a feminist. Okay, I've been extremely floored by this film called Pink. You guys must have heard a lot about it because I think Mr. Bachchan was here. Okay, so I'm going to talk about it because I think Mr. Bachchan somewhere said that we are a land of rape or something of that effect. I want to tell Mr. Bachchan, we are also a land of artists like shining example of modern men like Mr. Bachchan, Sujit Sarkar and Anurag Roy. These great artists could have invested their creative energies into anything, but they chose to do a film called Pink. Because because we are a male-dominated society, it is all the more important for us to empower our feminist men more than empowering our women, because they are the one who's going to lead feminism. And I feel when we have men like Shujit sir, Mr. Bachchan, And, Anurid Rai, like I said, they are the ones who are leading the spirit of feminism. And we are so proud of them. Kisses, flying kisses for them. All the men here who are feminists, put up your hands.
The rest of the men? No? Not feminists? Alright, so
Who all are feminists here? I know, but who all are feminists here? Oh, great. We still have hope.
You told us everything that you're not. You're not this. If this
Yeah.
is. What is feminism?
I think, like I said, I've not. Feminism is apparently subjective. It's in literature, but like I said, I've not gone to college or school. So I don't borrow education. I don't feel that I need to just borrow a set of ideas and then to just own them because everybody's owning them. So I have to be convinced. I have to be stimulated with that idea. For me, feminism is what pink is. Feminism is not just fighting for women's rights, because even to prove that women are also human is it's really beneath any legitimate democratic human being's dignity. To prove women as humans, I mean, of course they are humans and of course they deserve equal rights, but what pink does is it celebrates a woman's pride. And I think that is the most significant thing that we need to do. As feminists, we need to protect a woman's dignity and her pride. I love the fact that it wasn't a poor girl who was tortured to trauma. It's just that she didn't want it to say sorry for the things she didn't feel sorry for. So that courtroom drama around one's own dignity is what I think is feminism, and I think salute to these men who choose to see women as an equal.
And for all the men who are not, what are the 3 pieces of advice you want to give to the girls here to deal with men who do not deserve them?
Why to deal with them? Like coming back to bullies, the thing is, the thing is that you've got to know if the bully is actually has something at stake. Would you, like I said, the legal battle, the so-called legal battle, there was nothing legal about it. I had an option, either indulging into it, but what is at stake? Why would I want to own, okay, here's an analogy. Why would I want to own a car that doesn't work? If a man doesn't have respect for me, he doesn't fit into my scheme of things. How does he fit into my life? So why do you want to indulge into bullies, and why do you want to deal with them? It's what I want to know.
Well, you're right. I think to use another analogy, it's like wrestling with a pig, because you get dirty and the pig enjoys it.
Exactly. You rather find a car which runs. Simple. Invest your limited time into things that gonna make your life, beautiful. But don't indulge into traps, because sometimes you can also be a very passionate indulgence for somebody who just wants to keep you busy.
You used this very important term, and I want to bring you back to it. And let's just put it out there. When you spoke of slut shaming, what is it and how does it happen? And it happens in very insidious ways. There'll be like people who talk to you and say, "What are you doing?"
Well, about slut shaming, see, it is simple. Like I just said, that if a woman is always going to be made to feel like someone who's been wronged, in a sexual relationship, why is it, if in a consensual relationship, why is it woman always gets used and man always has fun? How does that work? Is woman a washing machine which gets used? What is it about women that gets used in them? If it was a consensual relationship, then clearly if a man had fun, so women also had fun. So why should women have the burden of saving the evidence of that intimate encounter as future hard evidence, just in case a man wants to escape? If you want to escape, you're more than welcome to escape. So like I said, no, it's not just in case a man says no tomorrow, he should be put to shame. Put to shame for what? For making love to a woman? That way, a woman should also be ashamed for making love to a man. But I, as an individual, I don't feel ashamed of anything that I've been a part of. I've been, like I said, I'm an adult. If I'm in a consensual equation, then what is there to be ashamed of? It is really, yeah, it's beyond my mind to even think that there is anything to be ashamed about in a consensual relationship or equation, for that matter. And why don't we make our women independent, just so that they can have this, they can have this option of not falling back into these securities and daily like what you call bread and butter, and succumbing to the pressure of society to live in a relationship or to live with an individual, like I just mentioned, who doesn't have an iota of respect for you. Why would you want to be owned by a person like that in the first place, is my question. Why would you want that person's acknowledgement of you socially, is my question.
I'll ask you a final question before we take questions from the audience here. I'm sure they'll be more than eager to. Did you find the kind of support that you would have expected from your peers? Because community support is very important. Yes, you have your own family, your support system, but it also matters. Your
no,
peers,
but the thing is, like I said, what was there from anybody from me to support? Like I said, I'm an individual who feels perfectly capable of dealing with the shit that I've put myself into. So why should I expect support in the first place? And also, like I said, if I had any sort of legal proceedings initiated against me, I would have fought for my pride, not for a man's acknowledgement or acceptance of me. I would never do that.
But far from the support, you actually got called names, right? And from within the community, there were people who were more
That's okay, that's okay. If I can call people silly, they can also call me mean and bitchy. That's alright. It's democratic.
Well, yes, that's democracy. Questions raised to Kangna. We give men 3 chances.